Tonight on NewsWatch, remembering Nelson Mandela, tens of thousands gathered to pay tribute to the former South African president.
Plus, nuclear weapons in Iran, why some say Tehran is the next North Korea.
And CBN News sits down with Sarah Palin to talk about the so-called war on Christmas. All this and more tonight on NewsWatch. Good evening, everyone. I'm George Thomas.
And I'm Wendy Griffith. Tens of thousands paid tribute to Nelson Mandela at a memorial service today in South Africa. Mandela was remembered as a symbol of reconciliation and a man with a mighty power of forgiveness. Gary Lane has more in tonight's top story.
The pouring rain didn't stop mourners from streaming into the 95,000-seat World Cup soccer stadium near Johannesburg early Tuesday. Mandela's memorial was a time to celebrate his life and achievements. The joyful crowd sang and danced to his name. Mandela's family was thankful.
We're obviously very touched. It was just a small, very tiny gesture to thank people for all this love, the support, the prayers.
More than 90 countries flew in representatives from Argentina to Pakistan, Trinidad to China. U.S. President and First Lady Michelle Obama attended the memorial, as did former President George W. Bush, his wife Laura, and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. They joined the president on the 16-hour flight from Washington. Former Presidents Bill Clinton and Jimmy Carter also made the trek to South Africa. Carter said he had fond memories of Mandela.
Even in the company with presidents and former secretary generals, we had one leader there to whom we all looked with admiration and respect, and that was Nelson Mandela.
President Obama was one of several invited to eulogize the anti-apartheid icon.
Mandela taught us the power of action, but he also taught us the power of ideas, the importance of reason and arguments, the need to study not only those who you agree with, but also those who you don't agree with.
Those unable to attend the memorial will still have a chance to pay their respects to Mandela. His body will lie in state for 3 days, and then he'll be buried in his home village on Sunday. Gary Lane, CBN News.
Dr. Corny Becker with Regent University joins us now for more analysis. I had a colleague who was in the stadium, and when Jacob Zuma, the president of South Africa, stood to the podium, started speaking, people were booing.
Right.
Help explain this reaction from the South Africans. Why were they booing?
Right. There's obviously a large discrepancy between the leaders that we have now, the current administration, and the values of Mandela. And as you know, George, there's a massive scandal brewing in South Africa right now surrounding some money that's been used to personally enrich not only the president, but his own home right now, something to the tune of $20 million.
And it's tarnishing the image of the ANC?
It certainly is. I think the ANC at this point in time should be deeply concerned with the coming election next year.
A lot of focus has been talked about, looking at this man, the icon that he was, Nelson Mandela. There is growing concern amongst white South Africans that violence will erupt when he dies. Are you concerned about this?
I'm slightly concerned, George. We have to remember there's still a lot of pain, a lot of hurt. Apartheid, of course, lasted for more than 40 years. Yeah. And it's only been 20 years since all of this indeed has changed. So the people still with deep pain and hurt. And Mandela was a stabilizing influence. It's now the time to remember this legacy.
There are elections coming up in South Africa soon. The ANC is up for election. What do you see down the road, weeks, months ahead, as people begin to understand the implications and reflect on Mandela's legacy?
It is an opportunity for the youth to rise up. It's also an opportunity, I believe, for the church to take its rightful place within society and remember the Christian values upon which Mandela built this marvelous legacy of forgiveness and reconciliation.
And it was a very important message that he spread from the beginning to the very end. Dr. Corny Becker, thank you so much for your insights, and my condolences to the nation of South Africa.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Wendy?
Sectarian violence continues to escalate in the Central African Republic. The Red Cross says at least 500 people have been killed in a wave of attacks since last Thursday. France has sent several thousand troops to that region, that in response to the violent outbreaks between Christian militias and Muslim groups who have taken power there. The United Nations has authorized a greater international military presence since the surge of deadly attacks, and the U.S. is sending planes to help transport troops. Muslim rebels seized power in the majority Christian nation 9 months ago.
Here at home, a second winter storm wreaked havoc today for residents all along the East Coast. Snow, rain, and ice from Virginia all the way to New England brought another round of travel delays, business closings, and power outages. Caitlin Burke reports.
A winter storm is delivering a parting blow to much of the Northeast. Forecasters Monday warned people all along the Northeast corridor to prepare for a second day of bad weather. And today, sleet and freezing rain again plagued many residents.
Think warm, positive thoughts and gloves and long underwear.
With as much as 6 inches of snow expected in areas from Washington to Boston, traveling has become a nightmare. According to FlightAware.com, more than 1,300 flights were canceled this morning alone.
We were in New York City for a nice weekend and didn't get out and were put on standby and standby and standby.
People generally angry also, a little frustrated, not knowing what was going to happen.
Driving isn't going any smoother than flying. In Washington, D.C., snow began to fall just in time for the morning commute, shutting down schools, government offices, and many other businesses. Overnight, ice from freezing rain brought down dozens of power lines, leaving well over 120,000 homes and businesses in Virginia, West Virginia, and Maryland in the dark.
A tree fell at the end of the street and blocked the entire street, took down one power pole, which then took down another, which took down the third.
The snow across the Northeast will stop falling by the end of tonight, but forecasters say it will be followed in the next few days by a blast of cold, bringing temperatures in some places into the single digits. Caitlin Burke, CBN News.
Burr. Well, Senate Democrats are using the new power they granted themselves to put more of President Obama's picks for judges on America's top appeals court. 2 weeks ago, Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid used the so-called nuclear option to wipe out the long-standing Senate rule on filibusters. That rule let the minority party hold up nominations. Senate leaders are taking steps to give Democrats a 3-seat majority on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia, often called the second most powerful court in the country. It's the court most likely to hear challenges against any executive actions taken by President Obama.
Lawmakers have reached an agreement on the 2014 National Defense Bill, but it doesn't include a key proposal to help crack down on sexual assault in the military. The amendment proposed by Democratic Senator Kirsten Gillibrand would have taken prosecution decisions away from the military commanders in assault cases. The Senate Armed Services Committee says it was a matter of timing. The House adjourns for the year on Friday, leaving no time for both chambers to address the amendment. As it stands, the bill includes some new protections for sexual assault victims and stronger penalties.
The Nobel Peace Prize was given today to the watchdog group aimed at ridding the world of all chemical weapons. The Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons has been most recently leading the mission to destroy Syria's chemical weapons. A Nobel Committee chairman says the inspectors from the OPCW do an extremely important and difficult job. The head of the group accepted the award today at a ceremony in Oslo, Norway.
The United States and other world powers recently signed an agreement with Iran, but just minutes later, they disagreed on what it says. And as Chris Mitchell reports, some Israeli experts are warning those differences could leave the door open for Iran to build nuclear weapons.
After Geneva, Israel's former ambassador to the UN, Dori Gold, examined what the U.S. said about the agreement and what the Iranians said. He briefed diplomats and journalists at the Jerusalem Center for Public Affairs.
So my team started translating statements made by President Hassan Rouhani, who said, dismantling our nuclear facilities, that's a red line. So there's a huge gap that's coming down the road.
Gold said the gap includes a major difference on sanctions. After the signing, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry said the architecture of the sanctions remains in place.
What does Rouhani, the president of Iran, say in Farsi, in Persian language? He says the exact opposite. He says, no, we're going to fracture the architecture of sanctions, using the American term.
Americans and Capitol Hill share Gold's skepticism about the agreement. 62% say Iranian leaders aren't serious about addressing international concerns about their nuclear program. On Capitol Hill, there's bipartisan support for a bill authorizing more sanctions. The White House and Iran object to that legislation, and Iran's foreign minister tells Time magazine that if Congress approves any new sanctions, the Geneva deal is dead. Gold believes the West needs to know what Iran is doing.
Those of us who sit in the Middle East and see what Iran is doing on the ground, but what few people know is that the bloodbath in Syria is being both directed and manned by Iranian soldiers coming from the Quds Force, the overseas units of the Revolutionary Guards. Now, if you want to get a stable relationship between Iran and the West, Iran's got to cut out this behavior.
Gold warned Iran is going the way of another rogue regime.
I'm convinced that they will do what North Korea did, which was to evict the inspectors, to say the world is weak and we can do whatever we want. I know this is politically incorrect, but if you want a safe and secure world, you don't give the most dangerous weapons to the most dangerous regimes.
Given the different interpretations after the Geneva Accord, many experts here believe Iran feels it has a green light to pursue its nuclear program. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
And coming up, how new technology is making it easier for the government to track you anywhere.
In 2008, my husband Gary departed for heaven. I was still grieving. And then to find out I had cancer, I began praying, God, how do I do this? Where do I do this? Cancer Treatment Centers of America was the place. Dr. Neelam outlined a plan that would take care of my mind and my body, and she prayed with me.
For Bible-believing Christians, we're able to pray with them in a much deeper way as they begin to really rely upon their faith.
At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, we believe in the power of faith and prayer as indispensable allies in the fight against complex and advanced stage cancer.
I'm back in Telluride on the mountain skiing. I feel strong and healthy.
Advanced medicine and technology.
And I am a survivor.
The warm embrace of the spirit and the power of prayer.
These are happy tears.
Please go to cancercenter.com/faith. Appointments available now. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
This is my read.
Yes, it is. Go ahead.
I heard you take a big...
I was getting ready.
Well, you've heard the phrase, Big Brother is watching you. When George Orwell wrote that in 1948, it was science fiction. Today, it's a fact.
Well, the big government, the government may not be Big Brother, but it can track you almost anywhere. And new technology it will make it easier to follow people. Jennifer Wishon has that story.
If you go to the mall to buy a new outfit, go home and log into a website, then hop into your car with your smartphone to take a road trip, you wouldn't expect those things to be logged about you in cyberspace, but they probably are.
It's hard for you to know all the places where the information is being generated about you.
Data brokers are constantly collecting information about you, and it comes from sources you may not expect. Even this mobile gaming device tracks its GPS location when it's offline. Other gaming systems literally watch you, detecting where you are in a room and monitoring what TV shows you're watching. Companies are collecting specific information about what you buy to less specific yet sought-after metadata. That's basically data about data, or put another way, information about you, like how many phone calls you make, how long you talk, and even the subject of your emails. It allows the government and any other readers to categorize you, determine with whom you associate, and how you think. Justin Brookman is a consumer privacy advocate at the Center for Democracy and Technology.
My concern is if you go to the store, with your credit card, buy a loaf of bread or buy a donut, right? Does that information get collected about me and sold to, told to my doctor? Does it get sold to my insurance company? That's the sort of thing we don't have control over right now. And I think we do. I think people should agitate for better controls, for better laws about this.
And surveillance isn't going away. It could easily become even more pervasive in the future because technology is only getting, smarter.
Right now, if you take a picture of someone walking down the sidewalk, chances are you won't be able to identify them using facial recognition software. But that technology is coming, and that has some people wondering if privacy is dead, or at least on life support.
And don't forget the growing capability of drones, unmanned tiny eyes in the sky that could follow you without you knowing it, even if you aren't using a cell phone or any other electronic device that can track you. The number of drones is growing all the time. And with the growing capability to track people electronically virtually all the time, there's a move for Congress to pass a new privacy law. But it's a fine line to legislate.
The key is going to be have these smart devices working for us and not against us. And right now, I don't have the confidence that that's going to be the case because people don't know what information these devices might be sending off about them.
Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, Washington.
The makers of the hit TV Bible series are gearing up for another religious historical drama. The Dovekeepers, this time for CBS. TV producer Mark Burnett and his wife, actress Roma Downey, scored a major hit with their miniseries The Bible earlier this year. The Dovekeepers is about 4 women who work to save 900 Jews under siege by the Roman army at Masada. CBS announced it will air a 4-hour miniseries based on it sometime in 2015.
Up next, a look at Sarah Palin's crusade to protect Christmas.
From CBN.
Broken Eardrum is playing at the Civic tonight.
And you'll just have to miss it.
This is so incredibly unfair.
A special story of love and sacrifice.
Joy, Mom comes up with something.
Christopher Quantum, you and I are going to discuss your attitude right this minute. Superbook.
No.
Join the Superbook DVD Club and get Superbook's newest episode, He is Risen. Plus 2 copies to share with others. All for your gift of $25.
They have arrested Jesus, the Messiah. Do you not know that I have the power to crucify you?
No! Please! You can't! They've taken him to Golgotha. We must hurry. Mary is about to lose her son. The worst thing any mother could face. I am not leaving her.
Superbook. It's an amazing way to build a strong spiritual foundation in the children you love.
Mary, who are you looking for?
I've seen him! He is alive!
Superbook. He is Risen. Available now.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
In 2008, Sarah Palin made history as the first Republican woman to run for vice president.
Today, she's not on the campaign trail, but she's still in the spotlight.
She certainly is. Now she's right in the middle of the battle to protect the heart of Christmas. David Brody brings us tonight's Focus Report.
In a way, it's like 2008 all over again.
Hundreds of East Texans lined up for hours this morning.
It was a fan frenzy outside Barnes & Noble.
Even though it's been 5 years since Sarah Palin ran for vice president, her fans still can't get enough of her.
This has been one of my dreams come true. So she's just a wonderful person inside and out. So this has been the highlight of my life. It's history in making.
The hoopla is over Palin's new book called Good Tidings and Great Joy, Protecting the Heart of Christmas. Palin tells CBN News that the book is a rallying cry for Christians to stand up against those who want to keep faith out of the public square.
We were founded, as written in our Charters of Liberty and the documents that created America, we're founded on a Judeo-Christian faith that would allow forever the right to express our respect for faith in America.
Palin says those rights are under attack from atheists, and she has a name for them in the book. Joe McScrooge.
How dangerous is someone like a Joe McScrooge to America?
That's a great question, because a Joe McScrooge, armed with an attorney, is quite dangerous.
Indeed, each year stories like this constantly make the news. Just recently, a Colorado school stopped its association with Operation Christmas Child after atheists threatened to sue. Same thing in Alsip, Illinois, where the small town stopped putting up its annual cross on the water tower for fear of a lawsuit.
The road that we are on today is too many of those angry atheists armed with attorneys would try to take away that freedom to express faith. Well, it's going to end in ruin unless we do something about it.
And that's where the fight comes in. Palin, who knows a thing or two about adversity, tells Christians not to be intimidated.
I want this book to be a call to action, to take steps for school districts, for communities, for business owners, for families to understand they don't have to hide their faith. They don't have to be embarrassed by it.
Palin adds this isn't just about fighting lawsuits.
This war on Christmas is really the tip of the spear when it comes to a greater battle that's brewing. And that battle that's brewing is those who would want to take God out of our society, out of our culture, which will lead to ruin, as history has proven.
Palin also sees big government as part of the problem and makes it clear that includes the Obama administration.
To tell you the truth, David, I don't know what they're doing right.
She keeps her message out there as a Fox News contributor. Her political action committee is loaded with supporters and money to burn in the upcoming 2014 midterm elections. And candidates still seek her endorsement. She hits the road in important political states like Iowa, preaching constitutional conservatism.
The crowning achievement of their Church of Big Government, Obamacare.
But Palin isn't interested in just taking on this president. Her heart is for a better America, a place where people can express their faith freely. In the book, she says without a faith in Christ, she wouldn't have been able to stand through those very tough times when she ran for vice president.
There is no way I would be standing if it weren't for that faith that I adopted as a kid, asking Christ into my life, putting my life in His hands, saying, God, you're my creator. I've got to believe that you know more about destiny than I do. So, heaven forbid I try to orchestrate it myself. Lord, send me, I'll go.
David Brody, CBN News.
Up next, how his time in prison affected the faith of Nelson Mandela.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
One of South Africa's leading evangelists tells CBN News he believes the gospel profoundly affected Nelson Mandela's outlook as he re-entered politics after years in prison.
Yes, Michael Cassidy says Billy Graham asked him to visit Mandela in 1992 after Mandela wrote Graham after leaving prison. Cassidy says he personally took a signed copy of Graham's book, Peace with God, to Mandela.
I remember him telling me, that when he was in prison, he never missed Bible study or church service or something like that. I was very impressed by that. I personally like to believe that the Christian gospel informed also his responses. It wasn't just pragmatic politics, but that there were principles here in his heart and soul and mind that he had come to believe were right.
At Mandela's request, Cassidy went on to network with other church leaders to press for reconciliation both before and after Mandela's election in 1994.
He was saddened by the fact that there were sectors of the church which had given either explicit or implicit support to the apartheid system and had legitimized it theologically. But it was not lost on him that the church was a very important player in the whole process whereby apartheid was brought to an end.
Cassidy says Mandela wrote a letter to Graham saying he was touched by one of Graham's TV broadcasts while in prison. Amazing.
Okay, that's amazing. That's all for this week's edition.